check out our streaming schedule for this week. We've got tons of content in terms of the NFL and college football, as we're going live just about every single day this week. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment where we go live. And now, on with our feature presentation. January 5th, 2025. It's week 18 of the NFL season. As we wrap up the regular season, we've got a rivalry game on our hands over at Lambeau Field between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. For the Packers, this is a massive game for them, as a win gets them the number 6 seed in the NFC and means they get to avoid the Philadelphia Eagles in the wild card round, as in the team they lost to in week 1. Win this game, and you enter the playoffs on a high note and not on a 2-game losing streak. But there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. You're playing the Chicago Bears, a team that's lost 10 straight games, a team that hasn't won with their interim coach, Thomas Brown, and a team that's in disarray, and a team that you beat the last time you met earlier in the season. You can't possibly lose this game, right? There's no way, right? But before I break down what exactly happened, if you want to learn more about some of the other stupid things that have happened throughout the history of the NFL, and some really dumb decisions that other coaches have made, Matt LaFleur included, then this is a place for you, because we talk about all things NFL history all the time with a new video and a new live stream every single day. So if you like that sort of stuff, then be sure to hit that new like button down below, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel. Thanks in advance for your support as we try and hit 70,000 subscribers. Here's the situation. The Packers have the ball with 1:49 left after a Bears turnover, and they're right on the outskirts of field goal range. They can kill some clock and make it so that they can hold the ball for what is, essentially, the last play of the game. However, the Packers decide not to do that, and they go quickly on 2nd and 3rd down. When the 3rd down play gets stuffed for a loss of 2, the Packers are faced with 4th and 4, at which point, the Bears wisely call timeout to ensure that they get the ball back if the Packers get this field goal. Wait, come on. Come on, Fox. I know you're sloppy sometimes with the graphics, but there is no way that the Packers call timeout there. Come on. There is no logical reason for the Packers to call timeout. They're literally getting the ball back after this play no matter what happens, whether the field goal is good or not. The Packers didn't seriously call timeout. There is no way that they actually called time... I'm sorry, what?
Good snap and hold. The kick by McManus on the way. It's low, but it's good.
Great kick. Now, instead of just letting the clock run down like any sane coach would have done, you've got to give the ball back to the Bears with plenty of time for them to do something, and I'm sure that's not going to backfire on you in any way whatsoever.
Good snap, good hold. The kick on the way by Santos, and it is good!
Thought so. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something look awful almost immediately. These are moves where gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this could possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. If I had a nickel for every time I've done a video about Matt LaFleur completely botching the end of the half of a Week 18 game at home against the Chicago Bears, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. You can learn more about that game by clicking the card in the upper right corner. For all the great work that LaFleur has done during his time in Green Bay, and he absolutely deserves praise, considering the fact that he's never had a losing record, and seems to be very smart from an X's and O's standpoint, the man has no feel for in-game management whatsoever. It seems as though LaFleur is constantly making dumb decision after dumb decision at the worst possible time, as I've done quite a few videos on LaFleur screwing up already. And while I can't say that this was his worst decision, seeing as he decides to kick a field goal down by 8 points with 2 minutes left in a manageable spot in the red zone, and decide to willingly give the ball back to the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFC Championship, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner, this might be an awfully close second. Nothing about this move made any sense, and the end result was the Packers missing out on a better seed and guaranteeing the fact that they would not play another game at Lambeau Field. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a timeout with 58 seconds left on 4th down as you're going to kick the field goal is a really bad idea. And this isn't even taking into account some of the decisions that were made beforehand, where the Packers refused to take the play clock down. If you think about it, the Packers absolutely could have taken the play clock after 1st down and 2nd down all the way down and not gone no huddle, and could have let it come down to a field goal late by Brandon McManus. I can at least somewhat understand the logic of not doing that, because you might be pushing it for a field goal in cold weather, and you do want to get it a little closer with time to get the ball back should you screw up the kick. If this was inside the 25-yard line, it's a different story. But from that range, from a mid to long 50s kick in early January in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, I at least can semi-defend it if I'm feeling in a pretty good mood. But the decision at the end when it was 4th down? No, I can't defend that at all. Nope, no way. Because we're going to break down the pros and the cons of calling a timeout with 58 seconds left if you're the Packers, assuming that you're kicking the field goal, as Matt LaFleur clearly was doing. Let's say that you call the timeout and the kick is good. Congratulations! You just made the kicking up the lead. Good for you. However, you now have to give the ball back to the Bears with more than 50 seconds left, all while giving them a timeout to work with. In case you don't know, 50 seconds left is plenty of time to get into field goal range, especially with a timeout. You can use the middle of the field. You can even have a negative play and not waste too much time. If each play takes about 7 seconds, you've got roughly 7 plays to get into field goal range, which would probably be about 30 yards following a touchback. That is more than doable. Now, if you don't burn your timeout until there's 1 second on the play clock, there's 19 seconds left in the game. Now, you make the field goal, and there's roughly 14 to 15 seconds left in the contest. At this point, the Bears have very little time to drive down the field and do anything. Yes, they have a timeout, but they've got about 2 plays to get 40 yards to get into field goal range with Cairo Santos, who has the weakest leg in football. And they've got a rookie quarterback with an offense that has done next to nothing this season most of the time. It's likely not going to happen. You do everything exactly the same, minus the timeout being called at the complete wrong time, and barring a miracle, you win the game. All you had to do was not call your timeout until the very end, and you win, assuming the kick is good, which it was. Of course, the Bears could take a timeout in this spot. They don't have to let the clock run all the way down to 19 seconds. However, if the Bears take a timeout, they now have no timeouts. And I can assure you, with a rookie quarterback and with how bad the Bears are in 2-minute situations when it matters most, not having any timeouts is going to be a huge hindrance for the team. Any negative plays, and the clock continues to run. The Bears have to be extremely selective about any plays over the middle of the field, knowing that the clock cannot stop. 10-second runoffs will run off 10 seconds and not be able to be negated with a timeout. So even if you force the Bears to use a timeout, even though you completely bungle the situation in the final 2 minutes with calling plays way too early on the play clock, you've still got the upper hand. At the very least, the Bears have no timeouts versus 1 timeout. However, I get what you might be saying. I get your argument. Kick the ball early so that if you don't get it, you still have time to get the ball back and do something yourself. You're hedging your bets, and you're making it so that this super long kick isn't the end-all be-all. It'd be kind of stupid from 30 yards out, as in a short distance, but from a long range from 55 yards out, in the upper teens weather-wise, it makes some sense. Or does it? Spoiler alert, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Because let's say you take the timeout, and the kick is no good. There's 54 seconds left, and you have 2 timeouts. If the Bears call 3 runs that take 12 seconds each off the clock, the first down play takes it to 50 seconds. The second down play takes it to 46. The third down play takes it to 42. And then the 40-second play clock takes it down to 2 seconds because you don't have 3 timeouts. And on 4th down, the Bears just call 1 play where they roll out and throw it up and out of bounds, and they win the game. So by calling the timeout early, you don't even get a chance to get the ball back with a missed field goal. In other words, it's the same as what happens if you call the timeout late. In both scenarios, you don't get a chance to get the ball back with a miss. However, in one scenario, you basically win the game or significantly increase your chances at winning it at the very least. And in the other scenario, you've still got a lot of work to do. Both scenarios pose the exact same worst case scenario, but one poses a significantly better best case scenario. And you chose the one that didn't? How? How do you screw this up so badly? If you told anyone that you got the ball back with 1:40 left, the Bears had one timeout, and you were going to score, 99.9% of people would assume that you won the game, because it's impossible to not win in that spot unless you royally screw up and have no idea what you're doing. And sure enough, you royally screwed up and had no idea what you were doing. Matt LaFleur had no game plan. He had a concept of how to handle a 2-minute drill, but he didn't have an actual plan for how to handle the 2-minute drill. He had no plan for this, because if he did, this would not have happened. And after the game, Matt LaFleur talked about the decision to call timeout and then kick the field goal. And to his credit, he took some accountability for it. Take a listen to what LaFleur had to say.
And then at the end of the game, that's squarely on me. Just got caught in a situation where we were planning on going for it, and they felt like Brandon could make that field goal. And hindsight's 20/20. I wish I wouldn't have taken the timeout, because it gave him obviously way too much time to go down and operate. So, like I told the team, I mean, that's on me. That can't happen. So it's just, we got to wipe this as soon as possible.
But you see why the timeout was stupid, right? It's not just about giving the Bears plenty of time to move the ball down the field and make the kick. It also ensured the fact that the game ended if you missed the kick. It was a no-win situation. And that's been Matt LaFleur's MO with a lot of these in-game contributions when it mattered most. He makes decisions that are just absolutely baffling, that show no awareness of the game whatsoever. No awareness of the game around him. Then again, this was the same guy that went 0 for 6 on challenges entering the game and challenged a lot of really stupid crap that never had a chance in the world getting overturned. So I'm not sure what else to expect out of this man. I really don't. If I expect anything, I'm just going to be disappointed, and I'm just going to be let down, as many Packer fans were on this day. And when it comes to the matchup between these two teams behind me right here, oddly enough, this isn't even the first time this season that I talked about a team having a surefire chance at winning the game so long as they managed the clock properly and did what they were supposed to do, and they ended up screwing everything up. You might remember earlier in the season, 2 months ago, I did a video on another Packers-Bears game where the Bears had the ball down late, and they had a chance to win the game with a field goal, and they royally mismanaged the clock by not trying to get any closer, even though they were out of range for Cairo Santos. And shocker, they ended up losing the game. You can learn more about that one by clicking the card in the upper right corner. It wasn't the straw that broke the back of Matt Eberflus, but it was awfully close to it. The straw that broke the back was the Thanksgiving debacle against the Lions, which we all know how that one went. But this was awfully close to that. I don't know what it is about the matchup between the Packers and the Bears. I really don't. But every time these teams meet, one coach decides to do something really, really stupid. It's a weird quirk in one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL. So what do we learn from all this? If it's fourth down, and you have two options, with one option giving the ball back to the other team with plenty of time for them to drive down the field, and the other option not doing that, then pick the option that doesn't do that. If there are two options, and both options pose the same exact worst case scenario, but one option poses a significantly better best case scenario than the other, then pick that option. If you need to run out the clock, then run out the clock. And don't call unnecessary timeouts when you don't have to. No timeouts for the other team is better than one timeout for the other team. And if you have the game won, so long as you know how to properly manage the clock, and you don't manage the clock properly, then you seriously need to reevaluate how you coach. Because if you can't beat the freaking Chicago Bears, as in a team that hadn't won a game in 3 months, I don't know how you're winning in the playoffs. I just don't. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. And make sure to join me live as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.